All right, hello. Another month, another Tech Talk with 2W. My name is Danielle, and I do communications here at 2W, and today we're talking about managed IT. We're going to dive into all the benefits and all the ways it can help businesses like yours. Today we have Jon Dickey with us. He's our sales director here at 2W. And he's knowledgeable in so many facets in the tech industry, but this is one he's especially passionate about. So I'm super excited to get into it. Jon, you want to say hi to the people and tell a little bit about yourself?
Hey, Danielle. Hey, everybody. Absolutely. So Jon Dickey, I have been in the technology world for 25 plus years. I've been in leadership for the last 23-ish years. So my current role at 2W is I'm the director of sales. And that means I work with our potential new clients and our existing clients to help make sure they've got the right resources allocated for what they're trying to do.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, Jon is one of our go-tos for a lot of topics. So you're going to be hearing a lot of him on this podcast, I'm sure. But otherwise, let's dive into managed IT. So I want to start by saying technology is always evolving, right? So if we look 5 years ago, we'd see a huge technology advantage now compared to then. And I'm sure if we fast forward to 5 years in the future, that trend's going to continue, right? So I want to start by asking, how should businesses prepare their IT support for these future demands?
Yeah, this is a big question, right? And it's one that I think a lot of organizations are, if they haven't wrestled with yet, they're going to be wrestling with soon. There's so many things to consider. And the first thing you have to consider is, okay, what am I trying to accomplish that I can accomplish with technology? And how can I make sure my technology stays protected, stays operational, and just works, right? So there's a lot of things to think about. And when you're thinking about how do I do that, I think that's kind of the foundation of where you start is where technology is going to play into your future roadmap and how you're going to make sure that you have the right setup to make sure your business works and your technology works.
For sure. It's not just about implementing technology, but keeping it updated to match what your business needs, right? So let's say a client is considering managed IT. What's the next step? How do you, for example, look into the amount of time they spend internally and if managed IT is the right route for them?
Yeah, another big loaded question, but a good question. You look at, I think there's a couple things to look at, right? And you, as technology continues to grow and morph, having your ability as your company, whatever you do, right? I make shovels, whatever I make, right? To be that expert in that part of what you're doing. It's hard to be an expert in technology as well, right? Because it's going to keep changing, and even the demand to support your technology environment is a full-time job, right? And it's hard to be able to put your arms around that. So be able to evaluate that. And I think one of the really important factors that you have to look at as well is the people that you hire and how hard it is, one, to find good talent. And then when you do find the good talent, in this day and age of technology, you think about all the tech schools that are out there, and at an earlier and earlier age, people are getting immersed into technology, right? So the people that have a passion for that, they want to keep growing, right? So you may have those people for 12, 18, maybe 24 months, and then they want to go on to the next challenge. They don't want to patch servers and take care of technology environment. So to try to sustain that can also be a full-time job for you to make sure you've got the right talent. So I think that's the first piece to look at, and then you start your evaluation of what you're looking at for managed IT partners.
Okay. And would you say, is there any impact on employee productivity?
And as far as employee productivity, as far as going to a managed IT provider?
Yeah, in the sense that our team would take off some pressure from the internal IT team.
Yeah. I think there's a huge plus in productivity, right? And part of that plus is when you're when you have your own internal IT staff, right? It's probably going to be 1, 2, maybe 3 people that are supporting your environment, depending on how big your organization is. those folks can only handle so much, right? And when you have your users and they need to be able to use technology, to be able to have a partner that can effectively get those people productive again is huge, right? So looking for a managed IT partner that can keep your employees active and productive is huge. And we see, and I've seen many instances where our clients who are managed IT partners of ours, they can use the functionality of a click to chat or an off hours phone call to be able to get instant support and get their issue going and resolved so they can work again.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, we see a lot of people use that 24/7 click to chat support, so I can definitely see that as a huge benefit. So I know we already touched on this a little, but I think it deserves its own moment. How can businesses ensure continuity with their IT support despite the high turnover?
So I think in the aspects of making sure the evaluation that we talked about and the reality is of finding good people and maintaining them. And when you do find the good people that do that, you look at a company like a managed IT provider, they're going to be able to have a full group of people. So when you have your own people in-house, whether it's 1, 2, 3, even 4 or 5, you lose one of those individuals, that's a big loss, right? And it's harder to replace. When you've got a full managed IT company that's supporting you, that has a full team behind it, maybe 1, 2, 3 of those people move on, you don't feel the impact on it, right? So there's much less of a blow there. You get the more continuity, you get the full support of a third-party managed IT that's supporting you.
Yeah, for sure. And you actually beat me to one of my questions, which was, what would you say to people that challenge your statement on having the high turnover when we would have that same high turnover?
Yeah, and Danielle, what we do, for example, at 2W with our people is we can help them grow within, and we promote a lot of people within, right? So we're able to have the luxury of having more depth on support, so our level 1 people, and then as they do well and they advance, they can go to level 2, level 3, different dimensions of technology support within 2W.
Right. Okay. Awesome. So you mentioned a lot of qualities that people should look for when looking for a managed IT. Is there any that you didn't touch on that you want to put in here?
Yeah, for sure. So looking at a managed IT partner is an exercise that you've got to look at a couple different things. One is how are they going to make it easy for you? We've kind of touched on that a little bit, but you want it to be easy as possible for your users to be able to get access. So we mentioned our click to chat, but having a functionality like that where it's very easy to open up tickets, to have clear visibility into those tickets. Does that third party have a user portal or a place where you can see updates on what tickets are open, what projects are on, what all the progress on what's being done? And then also clear visibility into your environment. A major red flag when you're evaluating for a third party IT would be somebody either that doesn't want to provide you with that information or isn't willing to. Right? You want to work with a third-party IT that is very open to show you the tools they use to be able to have easy, clear access to your information, your users' information, your assets, how old your computers are, how old your operating system are, what's covered under warranty, what's not, and to be able to have somebody that's going to manage that for you, but then also you have that visibility and access, right? Because it's your company, it's your data, it's your information. You don't want to work with somebody that's going to hide that information and make it hard to access or get to. You want clear visibility and clear access whenever you need it.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned the importance of transparency. So do you have any words of advice for businesses or individuals to make sure that they get that?
Yeah, when you're going through the evaluation process of looking either to go from in-house IT to a third party or going from one third party to the next, it's important to treat that kind of like an interview, right? You want to make sure, can I check the boxes? And ask them to show you an example of the tool set they're going to use. Ask them to show you how you're going to have visibility to information, progress on tickets, progress on any projects, access to your information. How would you access your information as you needed it? That's really important. And then on top of that, I think it's really important to work with somebody that's going to have regular planning session cadence with you, right? So, because it's not just take care of my technology and make sure it works. That's certainly important, but it's also understanding how your business is going to change, because that means your technology is going to change, right? So working with an organization as a third party that's going to be able to show you and have a lot of confidence in how they're taking care of you, but then also advise to your business how it's going to change and how that support's going to change, what you should be considering. There's a lot of pieces to that, right? I mean, you can get into, many organizations have to demonstrate compliance or qualify for different levels of cyber insurance. Those things are important, and to be able to work with a company that can confidently convey. So you want to be able to kind of have some checkpoints into that. But it's a lot of it, Danielle, is certainly about visibility and openness, that spirit of openness, and how they're going to work with you.
Okay. And then one way we do that here is through Resolve IQ. Mm-hmm. So do you want to touch on how we use that?
Absolutely. I love Resolve IQ. It is, so we've been working the last, call it year and a half, on our AI strategy, which we have called Resolve IQ. And we use Resolve IQ to help enhance the experience of our clients. And it's a major part of how we use it, right? So for example, as a client would open up a support ticket, they can get progress on that, and the Resolve IQ process through the AI bot is going to give them updates on their ticket and be able to complement our efforts, right? So for example, hey, can you give me an update on my ticket that I opened? Resolve IQ is going to be able to pull together in a very quick fashion a clear, concise update on what's happening and what the next steps are. And what's important, Danielle, is that we don't use Resolve IQ to replace human beings. We use it to complement human beings.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the cool things that I just learned too is we sign all of our emails by Resolve IQ from Resolve IQ. So we're not trying to hide it either.
No, absolutely.
So I also want to touch on what businesses should expect from third-party managed IT in terms of cybersecurity. You mentioned cyber insurance a little bit, but do you want to go deeper into that? I
do. I definitely do. You have to be aware of cyber security and how your managed IT partner would handle that, right? Cyber criminals, it's a real deal, right? We're seeing every day the increase of cyber attacks, and I think a lot of businesses and small and medium businesses are seeing it more frequently, unfortunately. But there's also some more reality to cyber criminals are not just going after, Best Buy or Target or large organizations. They're going after everybody, right? So to be able to work with a client and understand how they're going to help you with cybersecurity, it's also important to understand that managed IT support and a cybersecurity plan are two separate things, right? Your foundational security and how you're making sure that you're staying protected at a basic level is really important. But then if you, depending on what you're trying to do, whether it's demonstrate compliance or insurance, or one of your clients says, hey, you need to be able to do A, B, and C in order for me to work with you, how could your third party demonstrate that? And that's another good interview question, by the way, right? So you may feel really good about their ability to take care and maintain and monitor your infrastructure, your computers, your servers, but then how can they help advise on cybersecurity is an extra question you should be asking.
Okay, so now moving on to one of the most important factors that comes into any type of service is cost, price, all that fun stuff. So what is the most cost-effective way to pay for managed IT support? Yeah,
it's important, right? Because you're going to, especially if you're going from used to hiring full-time equivalent people, right? I'm going to hire 1, 2, 3 people to manage my IT, and you're going to take some or all of that over to a managed IT partner. You have to understand what you're getting and what the value is to that. One really important asterisk that I put by this that's really important to understand, how are they handling end user help desk tickets? Because I see a lot of different companies do it differently. Some will offer a block of hours where you pay for the block of hours and then you pull in from that block of hours as you need them. Others will pay per ticket or per hour. For me, if I'm going to entrust upon a third party, I want that risk to be on that third party and not on me, right? So what I mean by that is unlimited user help desk support for me is the best, right? And think about that. The risk is on that third party, right? Because if they are saying you can open unlimited tickets, then they're really on the hook to make sure that your environment stays clean and healthy because they don't want a bunch of tickets open, right? So I think that's a really important way to do it. And if they do it right, they should do it in a very cost-effective way as opposed to paying per ticket, right? Because, again, paying by ticket or a prepaid block of hours is a much more the risk is on you type of mentality rather than the third party.
Yeah, that's a really interesting perspective. I haven't heard it like that before. I like it. So this is a good question to end on. How do technology partners fit into the broader strategy of a business's growth and development?
Yeah, it's working with a third-party IT. If you find the right partner for that, it's somebody that, again, can really understand your foundational technology, your infrastructure, your computers, your whole environment with your switches and your firewalls. And they can see things, advise things, and help you grow. And I think, again, as you would be looking to say, okay, who's going to take care of my IT infrastructure? I would want somebody that is going to take the time to understand my business and what I'm trying to do. One thing we know about technology, well, two things. One is there's always an end of life for technology, right? And then two, technology is always changing, right? We've seen amazing growth in technology in our society, and that pace of change is just continuing at a crazy rate. So to have somebody that is more of a stagnant partner that's going to take care of your infrastructure, but not have the ability to look ahead, is a major red flag. So I would want them to demonstrate to me how they're going to make sure that they're looking ahead with me. How are they going to understand my business, advise me on what's next? How do they do that, right? I think that's a really important question to ask because you can get very lulled into, okay, they're taking care of me and that's it. But your business is going to change, right? Something's going to change. The people are going to change. The processes are going to change. The client's going to change. The strategy is going to change. Things are going to for surely change. So you want to be able to work with somebody that can advise and pivot with the changes.
For sure. And this wasn't a planned question, but do you want to go into the technology roadmap and how we leverage it with our CSMs here?
Well, thanks for asking. I definitely do. I love the technology roadmap, right? So technology roadmap, and people think about it, sometimes they're like, well, I don't have a technology roadmap, but you do, right? If you're a business, you're thinking about what you're trying to do. And a lot of times technology can be simple, but you don't think about it in terms of how that's going to help you achieve what you want to do. The benefit of what you get from a company like 2W is we have a client success manager group, right? Our client success managers are meeting with roughly 50 accounts, and that's their deck of accounts. So they're seeing a lot of trends. They're seeing a lot of things that businesses are doing that are working, and they're seeing things that are not working, right? So they have the luxury of sharing that with their other clients. And right in the middle of that is the technology roadmap. So it's a roadmap to say, okay, what are you trying to do with your business? Where are you going? What's working? What's not working? And at the same time, let me share with you some things that I've seen from my other clients that are working and not working. And we build that roadmap to say, all right, here's things that are mission critical to the business that we're going to do in the short term. Here's some things that we want to do maybe in the next 6 months to a year that we put in the midterm, and then some longer term or wish list things that I might want to do that either I don't have the budget to do or aren't as important right now. That's a working, fluid document that you work with your clients, and you're continually updating that. And it's not just 2W is going to do all these things, right? Some of these things are, hey, me as the client, this is something that I can do. Or maybe 2W is going to advise to say, hey, I know somebody that can help you with this. Maybe it's 2W, maybe it's somebody else. But we play, at 2W at least, we play that advisor role. So to find an organization that can have that type of insight and that type of forward-looking, I think is really important in the technology future for our business.
Yeah, not to mention that helps you get that holistic view, right? So throughout this conversation, you mentioned a good way to think about it is you're interviewing people. You're interviewing managed IT support teams to figure out which one's a best fit for you. Can you pull out like 3 good questions that we've talked about throughout this that you're like, this is a good takeaway. These are what you should bring with you when you're ready to shop for a managed IT support team?
Yeah, I have more than 3, but I'll try to highlight what I would think are the key ones to look at. One would be how easy is it to work with them, and how nimble is it for their users, right? So easy, nimble, and be able to have that full-time support, right? I mean, the reality is this. Today you might not think that your users need 24/7 support, but technology is going to continue to grow, and to be able to have your ability for your users to be able to have access to their technology, do what they need to do for your organization at any time of the day is huge. And so to be able to have a connection where, hey, I had a really busy day on Friday and I wasn't able to get everything done I needed to, so I'm going to work 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. Oh, I need help with my technology. I need my password reset, or maybe even something simple, but I need that help and access, and to be able to have a third party that can do that, that's huge. So that ability to be able to connect into the user experience, make it easy, and have that full access is huge. I think the other components are, that we talked about earlier, is that visibility, right? Are you working with a partner, a third-party IT partner that's going to make it clearly visible to what they're doing? They're not making it confusing, and they're giving you full access and visibility to how they're taking care of your environment, access to the tools, access to the information, easy, accessible. And then the third is to be able to understand where that risk is, right? Like, is the risk on you, or is the risk on them?
Perfect. Okay. So in one sentence, Jon, what would you want to leave people with?
Yeah, I think to continue to think about technology is going to continue to grow, and you should always be thinking about what's your plan to feel good about, so I can focus on my core business and my technology is going to work. So this was awesome. Thanks, Danielle.
Yeah, thank you. I do want to quickly say, you might notice that we sound a little bit better, and we've been doing some upgrades to our podcast room. We got some better equipment. We have these nice mics now, so hopefully this all makes for a better experience for you guys. We'll put out a picture of everything. It is looking pretty sweet in here. Otherwise, if you have any topics you want to listen to, as always, drop them in the comments. We'll try to get to them. Otherwise, we'll see you next month.